You tuned into Bread Before Bed.
On tonight's episode of Bread Before Bed, we're studying Genesis chapter 14. The subtitle of this chapter is Abraham Rescues Lot. And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, and Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations, that these made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Bishar, king of Gomorrah, and Shinab, king of Adamah, and Sheber, king of Zeboi, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar. All of these, meaning the kings, were joined together in the valley of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Chedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. So basically in this portion of text, all of these kings that were listed, that were ruling over these different territories, they were all in unity together, and they were paying tribute to a particular king, right? And at this particular point, they refused to pay tribute any longer, and this started a war. So whoever won this particular war would have been the ruler of the territories, and if they would have won, they would have never had to pay tribute anymore. Tribute in modern day time is another way of saying taxes. I may mess up some of these names, y'all, bear with me. Verse 5 reads, "And in the 14th year came Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, and they smote the Rephaims and the Ashtaroth and the Karnaim and the Zuzims in Ham, and the Ephims in Shaveh Kiriathaim, and the Horites in their Mount Seir upon El Paran, which is by the wilderness. And they returned and came to En Mishpeth, which is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekites and also the Amorites that dwelled in Hazazon Tamar. And there went out the king of Sodom and the king of Gomorrah and the king of Adamah and the king of Zeboim and the king of Bela, the same as Zoar, and they joined battle with them in the valley of Siddim, with Chedorlaomer, the king of Elam, and with Tidal, king of nations, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar. 4 kings with 5. And the valley of Siddim was full of slime pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there, and they that remained fled into the mountains, and they took all of the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and their victuals and went their way, and they took Lot, Abraham's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. 13 reads, "And there came one that escaped and told Abraham the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol and brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abraham." So basically what this is saying is when they went out to battle, these particular kings, they went to battle in the valley, and there were slime pits there, and they got trapped in the slime pits, and that is how they end up being overtaken and conquered. And when Sodom and Gomorrah got conquered, guess who got taken over with them and held captive? Lot did, which is Abraham's nephew, because you remember in the previous lesson, when Lot got a chance to pick which territory he wanted to go in, he pitched his tent near Sodom. So now we see that he ended up going to dwell in Sodom, and now he's been taken captive. So one of the friends of Abraham ended up escaping and coming back to deliver Abraham the message concerning his family member. 14 reads, "And when Abraham heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants, born in his own house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan, and he divided himself against them, he and his servants by night, and smote them, and they pursued unto Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. And he brought back all the goods, and also brought again his brother Lot and his goods, and the women also, and the people. Now I want to talk about this courageous act of Abraham, because what happened here was Abraham went out to battle these kings, and he didn't just go up against one king. He went up against multiple kings, and he was outnumbered. But because he trusted God to deliver him with only 300 and something men, he went back and he ended up winning the battle and getting his kindred, his family member back. Also, I want you to see how Abraham had his own little army that was raised in his own house. It said he had soldiers that were trained for war. These men were raised in Abraham's house and they were ready to go. So Abraham was a powerful man in his time, a force to be reckoned with, and he was very wealthy. 17 reads, and the king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Chedorlaomer, and of the kings were with him at the valley of Shaveh, which is the king's dale. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. And he blessed him and said, blessed be Abraham of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be the Most High God, which have delivered thy enemies into thine hand. And he gave tithes of all to him. And the king of Sodom said unto Abraham, give me the persons and take the goods thyself. And Abraham said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up my hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, and the possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take from a thread even a shoe latchet, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou should say it, I have made Abraham rich, save only that which the young man have eaten, and the portion of the men which went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take their portion. So there are two things that I want to point out. First of all, Abraham paid tithes, which is a tenth, to Melchizedek. This person was named the King of Salem, the King of Peace, the King of Righteousness. He was named a priest, right? The only person that had those descriptive titles in the Bible was Jesus. The Bible says that Melchizedek had no beginning nor end. This is what we call a Christophany, right? This is Jesus revealing himself in the Old Testament. So Abraham got an opportunity to see Jesus before he came on the scene in the New Testament. Then another thing that I want you to pay attention to is when the king that got saved by Abraham came to try to give Abraham tribute, Abraham wouldn't take anything from him, because Abraham said to him, I don't want you to get any of the credit for what God has done in my life. And not only that, Abraham didn't want to take any of the glory for the victory, and he wanted all of the glory to be given to God. So Abraham told him, not only will I not take it, but Abraham kept making mentions of God so that they knew who delivered them and who was responsible for Abraham's wealth and his victory. No matter what battle you face in life, God will help you overcome. Always remember to give God the glory and to not give anybody else credit for what God is doing in your life.
This concludes Bread Before Bed.